Hi, I'm Obsessing Again. My final episode in the Last of Us series will be embarking on Joel and Ellie's final stages of reaching the hospital, Joel's decision, and Ellie's final question.
Swear to me that everything that you said about the Fireflies is true.
The season of spring is here. Much time has passed since we last saw Ellie. We see her distantly gazing at the engravings of a dear scenery. The traumas of what has brought her across states, the people who have come and gone. While David isn't acknowledged, it's evident how seeing that deer has brought her back to that cabin, that hut, and that cage. The roles are swapped between Joel and Ellie. Throughout the story, Ellie's chirpy behaviour, telling jokes as Joel begrudgingly takes her to destination, is now very different. Joel is actively looking to comfort and reassure. The promise of teaching her how to play guitar only highlights how invested he's become in her.
Yeah, once we're done with this whole thing, I'm gonna teach you how to play guitar. I reckon you'd really like that.
His journey is allowing himself to love again, to care for Ellie. I believe he felt conflicted in many ways of caring for her. An echoed sentiment of attachment is only good for one thing: getting you killed. Not being able to forgive himself for not protecting Sarah, and lastly, that to love Ellie like a daughter, he would be doing Sarah a disservice. Ellie is evidently checked out. The routine of the characters, and we as the players have become accustomed to, is halted with Ellie being withdrawn. Eventually, we lift her up as she blasely drops the ladder, as we clamour to then her excitement. Joel jogging along the corridors as sunlight beams through the broken windows, we approach Ellie. A moment so true and now iconic. A truly beautiful moment, one that Joel and Ellie can be introspective about their shared journey. The giraffe's passive nature relaxes Ellie and Joel, a moment of respite. While Ellie has experienced very little of what we take for granted, this scene is something extraordinary. It's the longest moment during the story we see Joel and Ellie take time to soak up the scenery. Seeing the hospital in the background, the two continue their journey. Joel uncharacteristically starts to open up, educating Ellie on the period of the outbreak, talking about his own trepidations at the time, and Ellie asking about Sarah. When she was last mentioned, Joel became incredibly defensive. In this moment, his guard was dropped. A full circle moment for the two. I think Ellie understands the magnitude of this moment by apologising for his loss. The tunnel, bloaters, clickers, and infected are dispassionately crushed, shot, and burnt as Joel and Ellie make their way to finding the Fireflies. A bus is conveniently placed down the tunnel, acting as a dam. As the bridge off of the bus falls apart, our two characters are helplessly trying to save each other. The pair are washed up, Joel conscious and Ellie not, as two militant men walk towards Joel before being clubbed around the back of the head.
Fucking air!
Come on.
Welcome to the Fireflies.
As you awake, a familiar face appears. The room of Fireflies are present, and Ellie is not. Marlene is a determined woman on a mission, and the objective for the Fireflies trumps her own personal motivations. Her uncertainty on how to pacify Joel is seen as she bats her eyes to the Fireflies, with every probing question Joel has on Ellie. I think she is surprised at not only them surviving the trip, but Joel's attachment. As Joel is being made aware of Ellie being prepped for surgery, his contained rage at losing another daughter is beginning to bubble over. Marlene's motivations are highlighted in her service to doing the greater good, be it a cure. For Joel, his motivations are more selfish. His attachment and love for Ellie and not wanting to lose her. Both arguments can be made, while Marlene is brutally honest with Joel. Her dispassionate tone and dismissiveness of Joel's emotions. You can understand how this would make Joel revengeful.
Find someone else.
There is no one else.
Listen, you were gonna show me where.
Stop. I get it. But whatever it is you think you're going through right now is nothing to what I have been through.
As Joel is ushered away, the range and his unhinged nature is called upon when he shoots a Firefly, causing a frenetic shootout among the hospital.
Where was the operating room? I ain't got time for this. Where?
Making your way through multiple floors and open corridors, being a one-man army, you can find notes and artifacts detailing Marlene's complicated decision. As a player, you can sympathise, but player agency requires us to be in the hot seat of Joel Miller. Player agency is particularly important when we find Ellie's location. Barging into the operating room, Ellie lay on the bed as a doctor and nurses are fully gowned.
I won't let you take her. This is our future. Think of all the lives we'll save.
Two opposing views, the viewpoint of humanity, the viewpoint of love. In this episode, Love Defies Morality is doing acts that might not be logical, but for love, the steps you'd go to protect loved ones is unmeasurable. However, Joel isn't protecting Ellie, he's protecting himself from loss. Ellie's purpose is being to answer the humanity's prayers, which Joel, in this defined moment, is opposing. I referred to the player agency in the first episode. In the first hour of the game, Joel has a choice of shooting a person who isn't quite infected. The game proposes a choice and then swiftly gets to test to kill him. It's a reminder to the player that this story isn't optional, and whether you agree with Joel's choice to save Ellie isn't your choice. Your love for Ellie and not wanting to lose her, even if it means saving the world, is the action of shooting the doctor or nurses. It's a selfish love. A doctor who would have been scarce in this world as it is more heinous than any of the multiple thugs murdered during the journey. Stabbing him with his own surgical knife or point blankly shooting him as you aid to Ellie is a moment of madness, desperation, or unequivocal love. As you hurry with her body, the red lights, alarms and fireflies, you desperately flee to an elevator as you are then cornered by Marlene.
Hey, stop! Hey.
You can't save her.
Why this moment is more heartbreaking often gets overlooked. Ellie's journey of finding the fireflies is getting answers for her own sanity. She has this gift, her immunity is larger than her. It's a prized possession that she doesn't even know what to do with. She puts her trust in Marlene, who puts that in Joel, by taking her across the country to meet the fireflies to find a cure. As Joel makes a selfish decision, Ellie is looking to make a selfless decision to find a cure, with Tess and, more importantly, Riley on her mind. Whether she knew there was a likelihood she would have died remains to be unseen, but her purpose in this world could have gone beyond anyone. We understand Marlene and Joel have a vested interest in looking out for Ellie. Marlene being entrusted with Ellie via her mother, and Joel being entrusted via Marlene. She is feeling the guilt, seeking forgiveness with the anticipation of a world-changing vaccine. As she questions Joel, he is aware of his action, being selfish and not in service of Ellie's needs. Marlene lowers the gun and then it cuts to Joel, driving a car. The cuts from Ellie and Joel's interaction to how it played out. As a storytelling technique, it's quite unlike anything we've seen in this game. Every character, interaction, we take their account as the truth. Even if we have an incline, it's deceptive. Joel presents to Ellie what happened, with flashes of what actually happened. The game doesn't want that interaction to be ambiguous. It wants you to know the extent of what someone would do to save someone they love. With Marlene's last desperate plea, it's evident Joel wants to put the fireflies, the hospital, all of it to a swift closure, in the hopes it never haunts him again.
They've stopped looking for a cure. I'm taking us home.
As the two leave the car, Joel shares a story about Sarah with Ellie, saying the two would have likely been friends. Whilst Joe is being endearing, the quietness in Ellie raises questions. Upon approaching Jackson, the backdrop is scenic and very idyllic. The final scene between Ellie and Joel. While it's not a showdown, it is a moment for Ellie to share her Sarah in Riley, for her to voice the journey of loss, and for Joel to not acknowledge it, but to accept it for what it is. In the past, Joel has been quite dismissive of Ellie's experiences, but this journey has made him warm to Ellie, and to respect her as a person, not just some child that got pawned off to him. But in this exchange, it's not for Ellie to seek validation, it's to be heard, to voice out Riley, to voice out loss, and to voice her actual question.
No matter what, you keep finding something to fight for. Now, I know that's not what you want to hear right now.
Swear to me. Swear to me that everything that you said about the fireflies is true.
I swear.
Okay.
She gives Joel a final chance to be honest with her. He steely swears down, and she accepts it for face value. In that moment, her acceptance is a placeholder. She trusts Joel, but whether she truly believes him remains to be seen. The sight of Jackson in the background is an opportunity for Ellie to have a more normal life, but her guttural feeling doesn't trust him. From all the large set pieces we've experienced in this story, the last scene is poignant and simple, but it makes sense. The gameplay is beyond serviceable, the level design has great moments, but that's not what holds the audience captivated. Playing as Joel and Ellie, learning of their backgrounds, finding relatability in these conversations, all of this contributes to people buying into this story. The Last of Us is a journey of finding humanity in a world of violence, and moral ambiguity when all socialization is destroyed. Finding meaning in life, be it to survive is to merely exist in life, or pursue something with more meaning like restoration. The game is constantly prodding the player, raising ethical questions. Loss, live, and love are all core components of what makes this game truly special.
Here, come on, let's go.
Slow down, kiddo.
Come on.
Thank you for letting me obsess again.